Welcome. We are broadcasting live from the mothership. You are tuned in and listening to Starseed Energy Radio with your host Jonah Bolt. Starseed Energy Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. Starseed Energy Radio goes live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, what's up, Spaceship Earth? Thanks for tuning in. You are now receiving a live transmission from Starseed Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. I'm your host, Jonah Bolt, the Octurian Starseed. Today is Friday, August 28th, 2015. We have an amazing show lined up for you today. We have Marc Gray joining us from France on the second half of the show, a UFO researcher and contactee for ET and UFOs for different conferences all over the world that he puts on and helps host, as well as we're going to be joined by Joel Anastasia and Philip Collins from the Angel News Network. But first, we're going to start the show off by saying our daily quote. Today's quote is, "Concerning matter, we have been all wrong. What we have called matter is energy, whose vibration has been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. There is no matter." That quote, Albert Einstein. Great quote, Albert. Thank you for that one. I'll post it up on starseedradio.com. And please check out starseedradio.com for the latest news and updates. We're always posting up new articles. We also have Ryan Dernick's bellwetherpost.com up there, which Ryan is unfortunately not with us today, but he is making lots of posts nonstop, so check that out. And if you haven't called for your free piece of elite shungite or our free energy information, please contact starseedtechnologies.com. Fill out the form. I would love to send you all these PDF files and information on free energy technology, as well as send you a free piece of elite shungite. So again, starseedtechnologies.com, or you can call our toll-free number, which is 888-400-2328. Again, 888-400-2328. You can call, write us 24/7. If we don't pick up, leave us a message, and we will get back to you right away. Now we're going to jump into the daily stories and headlines of the day for the daily download. And right after that, we're going to get the news from a higher perspective with the Angel News Network Divine Discussion segment. China to build world's first amethyst crystal hotel. That is right. China is attempting, or will build, the world's first amethyst crystal hotel. Very interesting article I'll post up on starseedradio.com. But yes, this hotel looks to be about 40 stories high. A project from A.N.N Architects that is proposed for the man-made island Ocean Flower, Hainan, China, is a rather profound embodiment of such notions of beauty. If built, it would be the world's first amethyst crystal hotel. Amethyst crystal is known for its meditative and calming powers, so I'm sure the Chinese know what they're doing when they're building something like this using amethyst. Interesting article. We also have in the headlines today, scientists discover a jewel at the heart of quantum physics. This article goes on to say that they discovered one of the particles or atoms that makes quantum physics work, or what they feel they found the answer to what makes it work. Quantum physics and quantum mechanics has been an uproar the last 10, 15, 20 years since mainstream scientists don't always agree with quantum and quantum theory because it makes old theories and old ways of living and science obsolete. Very interesting article. Physicists reported this week that discovery of jewel-like geometric object that dramatically simplifies calculations of particle interactions and challenges the notion that space and time are fundamental components of reality. Space and time is just an illusion. Great article I'll post up. Another awesome article. This one just came out yesterday. I'm sure people have been hearing all sorts of stories. What is going on, we don't know. Maybe the guys from Angel News Network will know. Vatican linked to United Nations video on integrating extraterrestrial life. This is from exopolitics.org, as well as the UN Council itself had put out a commercial showing an ET integrating in the classroom. I posted it on my Facebook page yesterday. It is an awesome commercial. It's amazing. I almost teared up at the end. It's really, really a powerful commercial. So check that out. You can Google that or just Google Vatican link to United Nations video. It's a new commercial ad the UN put out showing a ET going to his classroom and sort of being bullied by the other students there. And then him helping the students with their play and opening up his power and making them levitate, and the students sort of welcome him. Amazing, powerful commercial. I feel something is on the horizon. Hawaii's governor dumps oil and gas in favor of 100% renewables. Awesome story from thenation.com. That's right, Hawaii's governor signed into law that they're now focusing on providing 100% renewable energy for the islands of Hawaii. No more fossil fuels or anything like that, which is a great story to cover. I'll post that up as well. Going into some other news, this one is a shocking story. Well, not really. Shocking claim: scientists think octopuses might be aliens after studying their DNA. Imagine that. According to a group of scientists, the lovable octopus, nature's aquatic contortionist, might actually be aliens not of this world. Researchers who mapped out the genetic code of the octopus found it to be so strange that it could actually be an extraterrestrial. That's right. Amazing article. You should send this one to Grandma. I wonder what she would think of it. This article is just flabbergasted me. This one was posted yesterday on the National Cancer Institute website. On their FAQ page, quote unquote, cannabis kills cancer. The NCI, more commonly known as the National Cancer Institute, recently revised the frequently asked questions page regarding marijuana and its medical properties, noting that marijuana's cannabinoids kill cancer. Something is going on in the world, people. That's huge. Again, the NCI has reported marijuana cannabinoids do kill cancer. The government-backed website cites a handful of recent studies which drill down how cannabis may inhibit tumor growth by causing cell deaths, blocking cell growth, and blocking the development of blood vessels needed by tumors to grow, while at the same time protecting healthy cells from damage. Awesome article. Love to hear that. This next article, State of Florida passes law. This one is for their beach laws. They have a big thing going on with the beaches. I'm not going to go too much into that. This one is a little bit more important. Brazil's National Cancer Institute names GM crops as cause of massive pesticide use. We've all known that. And one more article about millions of bees, 37 estimated million bees found dead in Ontario, Canada, after planting large GMO cornfield. Well, we know that. And one more story, Hungary destroys all Monsanto GMO cornfields. This is awesome. Hungary has taken a bold stand against biotech giant Monsanto and genetically modified by destroying 1,000 acres of maize found to have grown with genetically modified seeds. This is awesome. It's amazing that 70 countries or more have banned Monsanto, yet the U.S. still loves Monsanto because of lobbying, commercials, money, politics. This is why the system has to change. That is the daily download and the headlines. We're going to do a little recap of the week. We saw lots of things happening with fires all over the West Coast, burning out of control, only about 15% contained. We had some really big movements in the stock market this week. All international currencies are on the decline right now, all over the planet. All currencies down by 40% globally. We also have had the spillover of the people in Syria, people all also leaving parts of the UE, trying to get into other countries. We have this max exodus happening all over the planet from different war zones. ISIS, as you know, has been moving more into Iraq and also in Syria. Israel now fighting with Syria. ISIS fighting back with Israel. Lots of big headlines this week. But with that being said, we're going to start going into news from a higher perspective with the boys from the Angel News Network. We're going to be joined by Mr. Philip Collins and Joel Anastasia. Philip Collins brings a multi-dimensional background into being one of the co-founders of the Angel News Network and founder of the Modern Day Mystery School. As a teacher, life coach, author, and poet. And Joel Anastasia is the author of The Second Coming, the Archangel Gabriel proclaims a new age. The book is based on interviews conducted over several years with the Archangel Gabriel. With that, Philip and Joel, thank you both for joining us on the show. How are you both today?
Good, Joan. How are you?
Doing good. Vibing high. Lots of amazing things happening. Developments all over. Lots of good information. So I'm excited. We're living in very excited times, despite some of the darkness and the wars and what's going on. These are very exciting times for all of us. Philip, how are you today?
I'm great. This is Philip. I'm going to be our channel today, so I'm just going to take a moment and go into trance. We're going to be bringing in Archangel Uriel, one of the world teachers who's responsible for this planet, one of the four principles in the archangelic realms of Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, and Uriel. So let me just go into trance, and then we're going to respond to some of the news briefs. While I'm in trance, Joel will be interviewing Archangel Uriel. Just give me a second, please.
Excellent. And Joel, if you can give us a little information on what you'll be doing with Philip.
Well, we're going to let Uriel take the lead. Philip will begin with Uriel speaking through him. We'll see what Uriel has to say, and then I will either lead Uriel into some areas, or we'll let Uriel decide what we're going to be talking about, and I'll simply be asking some follow-up questions, get some clarity, perhaps bringing up some new topics. We'll just see how it goes.
Greetings, beloveds. This is the archangelic realm of Uriel coming to you at this time. A most important ascension aspect time for your planet and humanity, dear ones. As many of you are aware, the end line for the ascension process of this particular planet is taking place. It is in the process of returning to a body of light, becoming a star, dear ones. When you look up into the night sky and you see all the constellations, remember, dear ones, each one of them was once a planet not unlike your own, who went through an ascension process from density, carbon-based density, to light. You come from light, dear ones, you returned to light. Your planet is in the final 2,000-year cycle, the final 2,000-year throes, if you will, of an ascension process. Remember, dear ones, you are the creators creating your realities through your emotions, your thoughts, and your physical bodies into manifestation. Your news brief is a mirror and a reflection of the world that you are creating. What we intend to do with you, with this program and future programs in the future, dear ones, is to give you a higher realm perspective. You are now existing within the third dimension. When you go to sleep or you transition into death, you are in the fourth or psychic or astral dimension. We are of the fifth dimension, which is your destiny to ascend into the fifth divisional format. So to escape from drama, to escape from the comfort zones and the habits and the patterns of drama with your new news, we would like to give you a higher perspective viewpoint of what is happening and why it is happening. Let us begin by you ticking through, if you will, certain news briefs that are currently going on in your world and allowing us to give you a universal cosmic perspective as to why it is happening and why you are creating it, to learn what you need to learn, dear ones, the way you need to learn it, how you need to learn it, when you need to learn it. This is the process that you're involved in. It is a process with the relationship with self, the self mirroring all of creation, creating all that you are creating, learning what is through what is not, if you will, in order to ascend into a higher frequency of existence, which is your destiny. So let us begin by having our interviewer, our divine soul interviewer, begin to tick through whatever topics of news resonate and discern for you, and allowing us to enter into a divine discussion with you, dear ones. Where shall we begin?
Well, Uriel, there's a host of things that we could focus on, of course. So one of the things that certainly caught everybody's attention would look like total chaos in the stock markets. I mean, we had 1,000 move points within the space of a few hours and so on. What read should we make of the chaos we're seeing there?
Dear ones, your economies are controlled by a hidden elite. You've heard the words Kabbalah and Illuminati. So what you have recently experienced is this elite hidden force having a glitch within the system, allowing them to have a buying opportunity when the prices are low. Have you noticed, dear ones, how quickly, since that event has taken place, the stock market is recovering itself? or what needed to be accomplished in creating the low to buy in order to sell high has taken place in order that the financials, the monetary financials, can be controlled by those forces, dear one. That is what has been taking place.
What role is China playing in all of this? I mean, we're hearing about a regime that seems to feel that they can keep their stock market from going down. We hear about the illusion of economic activity with all of these cities that are being built that are virtually empty, with hotels and office buildings and residences that nobody's living in. And this is supposed to be this thriving growth country that's going to be leading the world into greater economic activity.
Dear ones, China actually does not have a stock market of its own. Its financials are a reflection and are controlled through the United States of America, dear ones. Their whole economic system is based on the U.S. dollar. The relationship between China and the United States is a very symbiotic relationship. At this point, one would not be created without the other. Does that help you, dear one?
It does. We're experiencing all kinds of. I was listening to what Jonah was saying earlier, referring to the droughts and the fires and the chaos in the Middle East and all the rest of it. What about these droughts that are affecting parts of the world and to a degree that we haven't really seen before, at least not for a very long time?
There are two factors taking place. One are the natural evolutionary paths of ascension of the planet herself. The other are the activities and the abuses of humanity upon the planet. When you put the two together, you can create some extreme behavior, be it fires, earthquakes. Your planet, since it is involved within an ascension process of the continents actually moving closer together, when once they were all connected, and then they moved apart, they're now moving back together into a we unity consciousness, dear one. As a result of that, there are certain natural clearings and cleanses that need to take place. Remember, dear ones, it is the emotions and the thoughts of humanity that create your weather patterns, be they drought, be they flood. If you will examine where a storm emanates and where it strikes, pay attention to the consciousness, the emotions and thoughts of the cultures along the way of those particular storms. You have storms brewing in your United States at this particular time. Look at the origin of the storm, be it the African continent, going to the North American continent, or wherever it might be, and begin to become more conscious of what are the emotions, what is the thinking, what is the culture, what is the duality, separation, or confrontation that's taking place within those environments, and that is what is creating your weathers, be they hurricanes, typhoons, earthquakes. The earthquakes are also a natural event of the ebb and flow of the evolution of the planet herself. Does that help you, dear one?
Well, that's very relevant to we who are here in Florida. We're talking from Fort Lauderdale, and we've got a hurricane that has a bead on us, apparently, coming straight to us, according to the forecast, out of Africa. Africa every year seems to be sending cannonballs out of storms that begin there, and then they may or may not develop into major hurricanes. And this whole Caribbean area and the state of Florida is one of the principal targets. What is in Africa that's causing that to be such a center of the origins of these kinds of storms?
What is in Africa, dear ones, is a lack of equality, harmony, and balance. And this great continent you call Africa, has been in conflict and chaos for a millennia, dear ones. There's a clearing and cleansing that's taking place and an unsettling that's taking place that emanates the consciousness of these emotions and thoughts in this particular continent to create these vortexes of energy that manifest into what you call storms. They are attracted through the law of attraction to a trail, to a network, to a pathway, if you will, to follow, be it across the Atlantic, into the Caribbean, and wherever. Pay attention to the islands and the cultures and the civilizations, the laws, the governments, the religious aspects within these particular arenas where these storms land. Does that help you, dear one?
Is there anything that we who are in the target of these kinds of storms can do to alter the energy?
Yes, dear one. By paying attention to your emotions and your thoughts, by realizing that they are stored within the atmosphere in a collective that can create a law of attraction for the storm to be drawn to. Create communities of equality, harmony, and balance, and pay attention how the storms stay away, dear one.
Well, we're in the target area of Erica, the hurricane. So, what would you say to those of us who are watching the storm? It's supposedly going to be hitting just 3 days or something.
Pay attention to the emotions that they create within yourself. Pay attention to the fear that they create, the helplessness, the anger that might be associated with them, and begin to see them as an extension of yourselves, as a force to clear and cleanse and unite humanity. What happens, dear one, after one of these storms strikes? There's an opportunity for humanity to come together in a unity and a weak consciousness to support one another. Yes, there are a loss of lives of those who choose to leave as a result of those events, those weather events. But it is also for an opportunity for those who make a decision to stay within the frequency that you're residing within, to love and support one another through rebuilding, letting the old be cleared out and a new to begin, dear one. Does that help you?
Yes, let's just talk for a minute about genetically modified food. Jonah brought that up as a topic. What would you say about about genetically modified food and its effects on mankind?
It seems that humanity has not learned its lesson. These activities took place in the continents, the islands of Atlantis, several thousand years ago. You were given the wisdom to understand genetics and how to alter them, and you experimented and changed certain life forms for what you thought was the benefit of self and humanity, or your aggressive civilizations. You're in the throes of being able to recreate that again. Dear ones, you cannot control what you have not created. You have not created life. And when you attempt to alter the energetic configurations of what creates life, that lack of responsibility will create a consequence not to your liking, dear one. Does that help you?
What might be some of the negative genetically modified food on human beings?
Disease and death, dear one. You ingest these, you bring them into your body, and your body responds and reacts to the modifications through creating such diseases as cancer, diabetes, and other diseases, dear one.
We have about 4 minutes left.
When Jonah was talking about GMO foods, he talked about the kind of international blowback that's beginning to happen towards companies like Monsanto. Monsanto has been declared by some organizations as the most evil company in the world. What would you say about companies like Monsanto that are creating all these GMO products?
Well, we would say to humanity at large is, when are you going to quit giving your power away to these forces, dear one? The few controlling the many. Stand up. It begins with the power of one moving into the collective, and make another choice, dear ones. Disempower these organizations.
Okay, so the responsibility is ourselves, of course.
As always, dear one.
Take our power back.
Through your freedom of choice and freedom of will, what choice do you choose to make?
Jonah, did you want to ask anything of Uriel?
Oh, yes, thank you. Uriel, there have been some major explosions over the last couple weeks in China. Some analysts speculate that some of these explosions are and could be nuclear explosions, that a sort of World War III has started because of China devaluing their currency. Can you give any insight to these big explosions in the Tijuana port in China and other areas that have been have suffered explosions?
Dear ones, it's not so much about creating World War III. Let us not go on to that dramatic path. What is happening there is a suppression of the human will by a regime that is attempting to control hundreds of millions of people. And this is built and built and built within the defenses of these individuals. And these explosions are a expression of what has been trapped within the individuals. These explosions are actually the result of disenchanted employees who wish to strike back to an establishment which wishes to quell the human spirit, dear one. Does that help you?
Yes, thank you. We have about a minute left, Joel.
What about this octopus thing that Jonah talked about in terms of they were speculating as to whether or not they were aliens?
Dear ones, you are all aliens. None of you originated from this planet Earth. You all came together from various galaxies and solar systems to be a part of what is called humanity, for this divine experiment called the loveversity of Earth, learning to love self and one another into world service. All of your minerals, your plants, and your animals came from various galaxies throughout the universe to be a part of this divine experiment called planet Earth. Yes, your octopi are alien, as you are as well. Dear ones, you are all star seeds. You all from various star systems get this planet.
Divine Discussions, Angel News Network, Joel and Philip Collins, Joel Anastasia, thank you both.
Citizens of America. We are anonymous, and we have been observing as your country's leaders have lied to you and placed your freedom and your constitutional rights into jeopardy. We are very disappointed about this, and we have decided to take steps against what you are facing. The world is watching America. We are also watching. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect.
All right, welcome back to the show. You're listening to Starseed Radio. Check out starseedradio.com for the latest news and updates. And if you haven't contacted us about our Shungite free sample, we're sending out Elite Shungite, this amazing quantum healing stone. Give us a call at toll-free 888-400-2328 anytime, 24/7. Leave us a message. We'll get right back to you. As well as contact us on starseedtechnologies.com if you want information on free energy devices. I have about 15 PDFs I would love to send you. Get this information out to your family and friends. Free energy is here. Free energy will help set humanity on a new course. Let's get it out there. Thank you, Philip, and also Joel from Angel News Network on that amazing higher deep perspective on the news. We'll be doing that regularly starting in October every Friday at noon Eastern Time. With that, I didn't give out our Game of Thrones person of the day. I am going to make that Game of Thrones person of the day Hawaii Governor David Ige. That is because he signs the bill on June 8, 2015, calling for the state's electoral section to transition entirely to renewable energy in 30 years. Awesome, awesome. Again, our Game of Thrones person today is Governor Dave Ige. With that, we're going to bring on our special guest of the show. Joining us today all the way from France, we have Marc Gray. To give you a little background on Marc Gray and who he is and what he's been up to, Marc has been handling monthly UFO community events in France, in Rouen and Normandy since 2011. He has been leading and translating numerous interviews with contactees, experiencers, and various UFO community international researchers, and speaks during his events and on a regular basis for a web show named UFO Conscience. He's also been a speaker himself at various radio shows in France and Canada, on ODH-TV, Bavaus dit dot la Vert, I probably didn't say that right, Project Freedom Radio Network, Frequency Evasion, and has put together the first Congress offering conferences on Exo-Contact this year in France, June 2014. He is a contactee starseed and experiencer, as a French native and used to live in Florida for 14 years. My hometown, where it looks like I'm flying back to Florida to the States this weekend. So with that, Marc, thank you for coming on the air. How are you today?
Oh, great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you did a little time living in the dirty South in South Florida, so I'm sure that was an experience coming from France.
Yeah, that was fun. That was quite fun.
Yes, South Florida is. It has that way.
a lot sunnier than Normandy. Normandy is pretty rainy. You know, it's like the Britain weather. You know.
I can imagine. So I'm reading over your information, and we've talked a few weeks ago, and lots of stuff to share. But if you would, Marc, first give the listeners a little background on how you first got into ETs, UFOs. Was this something, did you have visitations as a kid? Were you always interested in these types of subjects? When was your first sort of awakening or contact experience that really, let you know that this is real?
Actually, I've always been interested in the topic. As a teenager, I used to read all the books about forbidden archaeology, UFOs, and things like this for like maybe 10 years, from like the age of 12 to the age of 10 till maybe my 20s, and I kind of left that behind me when I moved to Florida. I was more into the material world and material concerns, and things, and I left that back in the back of my mind for like 14 years. And 4 years ago, I was approached to throw those events together by a group that I'm not part of anymore, because I kind of broke off, and there's some serious reason for that, because I guess I was approached because maybe there's a vibration or a frequency connected to me that made him get in touch with me, and I put those events together. I interviewed a whole bunch of major speakers in the field for the last 4 years, and I was always surprised that they said yes to me. Like Edgar Mitchell, Brian Forster, Lloyd Pye, David Jacobs, Kerry Cassidy, Corrado Malanga. That was for that's the English speakers, except for Corrado Malanga, who's Italian. But Peter Robbins, Mary Rodwell, let's see who else I interviewed: Cynthia Crawford and Rebecca Hardcastle, Sasha Lesson and Janet Lesson, Alfred Weber, Michael Schratt, Randy Kramer, and so many others. That's the English speaking part, and in the French ones, in the French speaking ones, I have quite a few personalities and celebrities in the UFO field. So I was always surprised that they all say yes to me, because I came from nowhere basically, and this whole UFO phenomenon actually brought back some memories from when I was a kid. And I had my first QHHT session a couple of years ago, and I'm going to do another one soon, actually in Paris, to actually survey what's hidden in my memory database. Basically, I remember levitation episodes when I was a kid and a teenager, as I was asleep, and I was basically traveling pretty far, and had encounters on the rooftop of the house quite often. So that brought back some memories from when I was a kid. So there's no coincidence, or it's destiny, but it's also something that's really has really imprinted very deep inside me, these contacts. So that's
You say that you come from nothing, meaning that your 3D history. We all know that we come from higher planes of existence.
Yes.
But your professional background did include 20 years of business-to-business sales marketing, very similar to mine. The experience included a solid involvement in sales, project consulting, and management in various industries. You graduated from business management and international marketing at the IDRAC Business Institute in Paris. You hold an MA in liberal arts at the University of Paris. So you definitely came from a background. You had schooling. You had some of the programming, if you will. Can you talk about how has this awakening really shaped and set your life from these experiences. You had a very 3D business to business, very 9 to 5, wearing a suit and tie, very similar to me in corporate America. How is this new movement, this awakening to UFOs, and actually embracing it and really and understanding and believing and knowing it's real? How has that changed? When was that event? Was there a certain event that specifically happened that just sort of took you out of that business to business world and management, or was it gradual?
Actually, it was pretty gradual, but after my comeback from the States, or I guess I was supposed to come back and do some work over here. That was part of my mission. But when I moved over there, I wasn't ready to come back here. So Florida, it's pretty nice. But I guess that's part of my mission. I had some physical. Not injury, but trouble, which I'm not going to go over, but it's something mechanical, and that actually made me take a few steps back from the pure physical world, and that opened up a whole brand new field of investigation and how would I put it? A new set of consideration and concerns. Were brought up to me, far from the material world. It's like, actually, I went through physical pain for like 3 to 4 years to understand and to open up some new new fields of interest, basically. So the physical pain in the material world actually opened up my chakra, my mind to other fields of consciousness, basically. So according to me, that's from my standpoint. That's that from my personal experience. That's what happened. That's what did it.
Got it. It was just for my sake, I was more of a sudden thing where one day I just snap of the fingers was like, this cannot be the way. This is definitely not it. And I started having experiences like you have had where everything collapsed into a frequency. I was able to actually put my hand through granite on my countertop. I was having my crown chakra opened up. Literally having experience after experience where even myself, I couldn't deny that I was having these experiences. I couldn't even tell my own brain that this wasn't real because I wasn't under any psychedelics. I wasn't anything like that. It was literally I was activated and within a week had 5-6 different experiences that were all unique, all different, but told me and told my brain, hey, there's something greater going on here. Let's go learn about this. And I sort of just left the 3D world and sold everything and moved up to the mountains of Asheville. In your course now, you're involved with the free movement. If you could talk a little bit about your work on what is free, what is your involvement with it? Ray is a friend of mine I've become with over the years. I first met him when he had his experiences. He's coming on October 2nd, so that'll be a great interview. He started free, and I've been involved with that since the beginning. So talk to us about your experience with free. What is it? What can people expect from this organization and your involvement?
Actually, my involvement was pretty much derived from Mary Rodwell's and Ray's requests for me to take care of it here and be a point of contact. But I haven't had much time to take care of it. But there's so many experiencers in France, contactees, and all around Europe actually who come up to me and ask me questions and also tell me their stories because they have nobody to turn towards, especially in France. There's some organizations in England, like the Match and so forth with Joanne, but summer scales, but over here in France is actually nobody. There's a new structure now that's being set up for the in September, October, alongside free. It's called the Zero over here, but pretty much, I have met a hypnotherapist. Well, actually, she's a certified Dolores Cannon QHHT. Well, I don't know if we can call her a therapist, but that's not the way they want to be called. But that actually can handle regressions or sessions for contactees in Paris. So she's the point of contact. She's American. Her name is Pamela Gonder. She's in Paris, and she's certified with the Dolores Cannon method. So I'm setting up a few things here in France for contactees to be able to be listened to, taken care of, and actually have somebody to turn towards to tell their stories.
So we have, and you've seen over the years, there are millions and millions. There's estimated over 3 million Americans alone have reported being abducted. That's 1% of the population. And that have reported. Can you imagine how many millions have not reported or think they're crazy, or their husbands and wives think they're crazy? So we're talking millions and millions of people are having contact. What is happening? What's this contact about? Some of them are bad contact, some of them are good contact. Mark, what can you tell us from what you've seen with contactees? What is happening with all this contact?
Well, actually, I've come across some rather, actually at the same time negative and positive. Well, you know this duality thing. It's all a matter of perspective and what angle you're looking at it from. And basically, in France, actually, we have many abductions with grays. They actually describe as short gray sometimes, and sometimes yellows, and with implants, hybrid programs, and some of them, 2 of them have met their hybrid, a child actually on board the ship, and I'm actually putting together with a partner of mine a documentary series about contactees, which we're working on a teaser for coming up in October, and I'm also working on a fictional series, but about an abduction of a kid, but it's not all so negative at all. It's just a fiction story. It's another series, that I'm working on with somebody else. To show the French public that the phenomenon does exist and what is ufology about, So those are 2 angles, 2 perspectives I'm working on. With one of them with real life abductees, and the other one with real life researchers in ufology, to show what this contact phenomenon is all about. There's as much as many negative as positive encounters, really. And it's been quite an experience for some of them. It seems that there's a duality within their own context. Sometimes they, one day they'll feel it's totally negative. They feel really they feel like crap and sick and stuff, and the next day it's a real chakra opening experience. From the same abductee or contactee, actually. So it's rather confusing. And I've been in touch with what they call the star seeds in France. There's a few of them, and they're pretty confused right now because everything is sort of speeding up, and it seems like we're coming to a crossing point in our modern history, as far as the big tip and the big shift is about to happen.
And I agree with you, Mark, 100%. And I honestly think that if you're out there, listener, or people that still question UFOs and ETs, I think they're crazy. I think they're just way too programmed, and they haven't done any research or any looking into the factual data that shows every tribe on this planet before modern civilization of today knew we came from the stars. Everybody, exactly. The Hopi, the Mayans, the Pharaohs, everybody knew. It's ancient knowledge.
The Toltecs, the Olmecs, everybody, and that's no secret. It's just that's why disclosure is a non-topic. Basically, we don't need to disclose anything. It's within ourselves. We just need to connect to our source. To the source, and we know that we come from the stars, and there's other realms and dimensions out there, and cosmos and planets and civilizations that are not necessarily similar to us, or maybe humanoids or in any other shapes, and like Clifford Stone, talked in the 90s, I think. He talked about the 57 species, ET species that were in their database, the military database, and then afterwards you have Paul Hellyer in Canada who talks about 80 something, I think, species registered. And now I interviewed Randy Kramer. He's talking about maybe over 100. species, in this secret space program, a manual or something. So this is no secret. I mean, it's in our genes. I don't know if you interviewed Paul Davis, but I think he was working on some human genome research project to show that we had what we call junk DNA that is not junk DNA at all. It's just basically alien DNA.
That's right, and we've seen many scientists prove that now. We just covered a story, Mark, at the beginning of the show where scientists now are claiming and believe that octopuses do not come from this world. They've done traces on their DNAs, and their DNAs do not match with anything of this planet, and they are now claiming that they're extraterrestrial. And I'm sure there's many more species like that. I don't doubt that at all.
Whales and dolphins, for example.
There you go.
Sirius, their consciousness comes from Sirius, and I read some of. I was supposed to actually interview her. Patricia Corey, she's a channeler, specialized with messages from Sirius.
Yes, I've had her on many times. That's my star sis. Yeah, she's awesome. She's the real deal.
Yeah. Basically, this is no secret, and this is the biggest secret. Basically, the dominoes are gonna basically fall over once they give away they give out the card of UFO secrecy, and we'll all know about the technology and back engineering and deals with some predators factions of species, which I like to mention that it's not one species that is bad. It's just factions among species. They're pretty hostile or renegades, or they're more like they want to take advantage of the situation, in a sense that I interviewed Craig Campobasso as well, and he worked on that movie, that short movie he's trying to take to the big screen. He won a prize in the Burbank Film Festival with Stranger at the Pentagon. You've heard of him, right? It was derived from the novel by Frank Stranges about Valiant Thor, the Venetian who came to the Pentagon in his 50s and tried to strike a deal with Eisenhower. And Nixon, and actually he mentioned that they said yes, but the chiefs of staff said no, because it would make the economy crumble. So it's all about the money, the profit, the material world that we see that's coming to an end pretty soon here.
We even saw this week, Mark. I don't know if you saw it, the new UN commercial that they're airing throughout the world right now, showing an ET student being brought into the classroom, like a middle school class, and it's an amazing commercial. And the UN just put it out. There's definitely something on the horizon. People know it. And, when you talk about the Greys, the reptilians, the lizards, I mean, just look at like what they call the austerity measures. They're called draconian austerity measures. Well, where do reptilians come from? They come from Draco. I mean, all the ancients talked about the lizard and the alligator people. I mean, this is as crazy as it may be for lizard, flesh-eating lizard aliens. Yeah, it's just one species of them. Big deal, people. Wake up. It's it's all over. It's all over the world. Proof of it. So the question for me is well answered. It's just really, how do we make contact? How do we work together? How do we raise the vibration to allow them in here? Because it is free will. This is duality. Bad people, good people. This is Earth. This is how it is. And people just have to be aware of that. Demons are real. Angels are real. I've experienced both on my journey, and I've interacted with both, and it's crazy. I can't even explain it. Words can't explain those interactions, but they're real. I know they're real. I've experienced them, and millions of people are experiencing ET contact. What do you see happening in the future? Do you see ET contact rising? Is it going to be more frequent? Do you see disclosure on the horizon? What do you think, Mark?
I see disclosure on the horizon, but the only bad part about it, and Randy sent me a message for the Congress where I was speaking in public for the first time to a large audience in June in Lyon, in France. And in his message, there was one part that was very interesting, among other things. He says disclosure is inevitable, but truthful disclosure is not. And he continued by saying, if we want to be sure that the slave masters cannot control the narrative of disclosure, we must all endeavor to come together, work together, and educate one another. Because if they control disclosure, it will be a disaster. And the only way to get the truth out there is if we all come together, work together, sign petitions together, protest together, and stand together against the lies and liars who got us into this cluster fudge in the first place. That's what he's saying. So basically what he's saying is that, some of this disclosure may be controlled disclosure. And what we don't want is a fake disclosure led by a bunch of liars that have always been or slave masters since the beginning, that we were genetically created, because we don't want another duality-based prison like we are living in right now. So
and we could even go in.
Concern.
Yes, and we can even go into, Mark, with all the nanoparticles being sprayed with the chemtrails, the CERN devices pulling an antimatter, which is dark matter. CERN, there's 17 of them built around the planet. We literally have a possible hijacking of this reality that could happen. This is some of the plans the elite are planning. These nanoparticles respond to electromagnetic signals. They're multidimensional. I mean, this stuff is real we're talking about. They're planning stuff like this. It is a real battle going on for good and evil. This is why this information is so important to get out there. People need to open up their minds. You believe in Jesus, Buddha, God, Muhammad, whoever you believe in is fine, but open up your mind to other possibilities. Otherwise, you may be trapped in some events coming up, and you have to be clear and grounded to make it through some of these upcoming events. Mark, where can people find out some more information and some of the studies and some of the stuff you're working on?
Basically on my site, it's called Freedom UFOs, and I think if you type Freedom UFOs all together in Google, you can find my website. It will lead you to, and click on the English page, and you can get to all the information. freedomufos.wordpress.com, and that's basically my website address. But
any upcoming events you're involved with as well, Mark? Any speaking?
Oh yeah. There was one last night actually in French, and there's another one for Carrie Cassidy at the end of September online, because it's she's launching a new web radio platform, and she wants she's giving the opportunity for speakers to come on her show and do a trial session. So I volunteered, and we're going to do this at the end of September in English. And but there's some UFO events coming up on September 26th. I don't have my speaker booked yet, but I'm trying to get Paul Davis or Patricia Clory or actually Melinda Leslie. So it will be one or the other.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mark. I think, just like you, that disclosure's on the horizon. These ancient beings are our star family to a sense. We're all connected. Our souls, I think most people understand, have come from higher dimensions. The computers now are higher dimensions. They're multidimensional. I mean, things are going multidimensional. That is the time we're living in. It's very exciting times. Thank you so much for all your service and your work, and for coming on the show. And we'll love to have you back on in a few months and get an update on how things are progressing, working with Free and everything else.
Oh, yeah, thanks a lot. And I just want to add, end with this. I think this collapse that's coming up in September is going to create a healing. Basically, it's the solution. It's not a disaster. I think we're going to have to forget about and leave behind the commercial, well, not the commercial, the material world behind it.
Yes. Thank you, Mark, from France. You're listening to Starseed Radio.
Thanks.
Iceberg like the Titanic. Atlantic mystery, Atlantis white from history. The truth about the pyramids in ancient Mayan prophecy. Space odyssey, look into the